Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com Deep Dive presented by Dottie's Family Market in Dover, PA. Joining us on the show this week is National Sprint Car Hall of Fame driver Dale Blaney. Before we get to Dale, Dottie's Family Market in Dover, PA is your one-stop shop on the way to the races. They have fresh-made sandwiches and subs with all the fixings, perfect for a night at the racetrack. Dottie's has everything you need in one location, including a full-service deli, wide selection of groceries, and gas. If you're looking to dine in, head over to the Hive Coffee House and Cafe for a great sandwich. There's also a seasonal greenhouse on site and also Dottie's Crab House, where you can dine in for fresh seafood and all-you-can-eat Maryland crabs. Head over to the corner of Canal and Bull Road in Dover, PA. Dottie's Family Market has you covered. Now here's Dale. Dale, welcome to the Deep Dive. It's a pleasure to have you on.
I appreciate it.
No problem. You're in our fantasy league, which is something has been talked about a couple times because you're one of the hardest guys I've drafted against, and I'm attributing it to your professional sports background.
Well, I don't have a lot going on in my life, so fantasy football is probably about 80% of what I got going on.
Well, you're a jovial guy, so we figured we'd have you on.
Well, some days I've got my days, that's for sure.
So you've had obviously you've raced 5 times this year, and your career's whatever it's going to be now the rest of the way. But I wanted to kind of take people who maybe don't remember, when you came into the sport and how you got started. But I guess you raced go-karts when you were really young.
No, not really young, 14 or 15, my brother and I, and that's the only racing experience I had before I jumped in a 410. I raced, it's about a year and a half of racing go-karts. So that's it. And I don't know, there really wasn't a ton to race when we were younger. My dad was racing a lot and didn't have a ton of time. And I don't know, it was just what we did. And nobody started young back then for whatever reason.
Well, you were a sports family. I think your dad played basketball, Dave. And then of course you played basketball. Was it
Yeah.
just the love of basketball for the family that got you into that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, yeah, our family was involved in basketball. I mean, there was no football at our high school, so we couldn't play football. And baseball was kind of out. We played little league, but baseball was kind of out because that's a summertime game, and we wanted to go watch Dad race, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so we didn't really want to have time to do anything with baseball just because we wanted to go watch races. So it was pretty much basketball, and that was it. There was no soccer at that time. So, yeah, there was one sport, and that's what you did.
And you were good at it. Uh,
I was okay.
know.
Yeah, I was okay. I mean, my family was good at it. My dad was really good. My uncle Gary was really good. He ended up being a race car driver. Dave was actually really good himself. He was just 5'9", but he was skilled. Shoot the basketball, was our point guard, knew who to get it to, when to get it to him, and yeah, he could have played Division III basketball if he wanted to, but he just wanted to go race, and that was his college education. So I was wishing that would have been my college education at that time. I would have loved to have started racing when he did, but just didn't have the opportunity. He was racing for my dad, and there was no opportunity for 2 cars in that situation. And basketball was there for me, and I had an opportunity to go play in college, and I could not pass that up of doing that. And that took me to 22 years old and hadn't set foot in a race car yet, and I was dying to every day.
How competitive was it growing up with Dave when you played sports? And again, you said he played, what was it, guard on your?
Yeah, he played a little point guard.
Yep.
Yep.
So was it competitive between you two? Did that because you're a competitive guy.
Yeah, no doubt. It kind of was for sure. Uh, but we were on the same team. So, but he was a different dude. I mean, he yelled at me a lot. He was always expecting more of me and wanted to push me and make me better. And I really didn't see that at that time. And whether that's what he was trying to do at that time or just that was the big brother deal for him at that time. I don't know, but yeah, he wanted me to be a better player and just tried to push me. But we were two different personalities. He was pretty quiet, reserved, didn't say a ton, but when he said something, yeah, you listened to it. But I was a little bit different. I talked a little bit more outgoing, I guess. But I was fairly shy when I was young too. So I don't know, but competitive wise, yes, we got that from my dad. Racing cars, and it was just sports and racing will make you that way. That's for sure.
So you go to West Virginia. You started 4 years there. You guys went to the NCAA tournament 3 times, NIT, had success there. And you get drafted by the Lakers. What was that? You don't see many sprint car guys who are drafted by the Lakers. So what was that
Well,
experience like in 1980? I believe it was 1986.
yeah.
Getting
Well, I wasn't a sprint car driver at that time.
right,
So there was, you know what I mean? I didn't start racing until I was 26. So I was just a basketball player. And
right.
it was surreal for sure. I mean, I come from Hartford, Ohio, a little small school, barely, for somehow reason, got to West Virginia and wasn't expected to do a whole lot there. And just elevated. It's, I don't know, it's easier playing with better players at some point. You find out what level you can play at when you play with better players. If they make you a better player, uh, you become the same thing as racing. You go out there and race with the Outlaws, you get better as a player, or you get better as a racer. So it seemed like I could elevate and play against whatever competition I could at that point. And yeah, getting drafted, I'd never expected to get, drafted coming out of high school. Now, my last year in college, yeah, I was probably going to get drafted, but I don't know. It was not really a tough time in my life, but leadership wise, and I'd never been around any pro basketball players ever before, and really didn't know what that deal was all about. But I do know one thing: playing basketball in college was way different than playing professionally. You're playing for a team, you're playing for a university, and it was just so much fun. But playing professional basketball, I mean, it's like racing a car. You just got to be dedicated, and that's your life. And I wasn't really prepared for that at that time mentally, and I just wanted to go race cars and be around it. I'd been around basketball long enough, and it was probably a horrible business decision on my part. I could have been a part of maybe the Los Angeles Lakers for a couple of years, and they won 2 championships the next 2 years after I got drafted. So it was a dumb decision by a 22-year-old kid that was looking for a little direction and didn't make the best decision. But I was dying to be around race cars, and lucky enough that my racing career was pretty good to kind of, almost overlook that situation that I was in with playing in the NBA. So if I would have stunk as a race car driver, it would have made the decision a lot worse, for sure.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. How far did you get with the Lakers? Did you go to training camp the first year? Did you hurt did you hurt your knee or
I
something?
didn't. Yeah, I didn't hurt my knee till about a year and a half later. I played in the CBA, but yeah, I was at rookie camp, summer league out there at Loyola Marymount, and played against all kinds of NBA guys. And yeah, I was at veterans camp with Magic and Kareem and Worthy and Showtime Lakers. So I was there playing with all of them. And it's just the same thing as, those guys come in the locker room and you're like, holy shit, that is actually Magic Johnson. And it's the same thing as getting heat in the motor next to Steve Kinzer. My first time at an outlaw race, I'm just like, holy crap, that's Steve Kinzer. So it's not that whole much of a difference in that situation.
So you decided to leave the Lakers or to give because you played in the CBA then.
Well, I did. I left actually camp and went back to camp about 3 weeks later. By that time, yeah, I'd not really burned a bridge, but I was. They still wanted me to come and play, and they wanted to put me on injured reserve, and I said no, and they just released me and thought for sure I'd get picked up by somebody else and didn't. So played in the CBA for about a year and a half, and hurt my first knee, got healthy, and actually played for Bill Musselman in the CBA. We won a championship, and he was going to Minnesota to be the expansion team's coach there. They came in don't know if it was 89 or 90 they came in, maybe. And I was going there with him to go to the T-Wolves and see if I could make that team because, hell, Sam Mitchell played on my CBA team for a year. And he goes there and plays about 12 or 15 years, ends up being an NBA coach and is a great guy, but played with him there. But yeah, hurt my other knee. And just like Dave got me an opportunity to go race and just went racing.
Do you get advice from when you're making that transition to racing? Are there is your dad saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, it's the NBA, stick it out," or is how did that whole dynamic work with you? Maybe asking for advice, or did they just say, "Hey, come and race"?
No, I was fortunate. The only way I was able to race at that time, Denny Stockdale owned a car for a while. Rod George ran it with the All Stars. It was number 4 car and really good car. And he got out of racing in '89 and just helped my brother when my brother was with Verlin Chubb and Terry Chappell was there. But he just helped him that year. Bought him a car and they tried this Shaw car out. It was the first ever car that Doug Shaw built. And but then my brother talked him into letting me drive his car the next year in 1990. It was my first year racing. And he talks uh, Denny Stockdale into letting me drive his car.
First time
Never
in a
driven a thing,
410.
right into a 410. Never driven a thing in my life. And my brother talks him into letting me drive his car because he kind of wanted to get back into racing. And Dave said, I think give him a little bit of time. He might be okay. And for whatever reason, he decided to do it. I don't know why, but totally indebted to him who gave me a start in racing. I mean, fortunate that my dad was Lou Blaney, my brother was Dave Blaney, that it gave me an opportunity to do it. And not a lot of guys get that opportunity. I mean, there's some talented race car drivers that 18, 20 years old that just don't get the right opportunity. And that's a shame. But, lucky enough, I got one and made something of it. So, awful happy to follow in the family tradition and be okay, you know. So that was a good thing.
No, I think he did more than okay, but you won two features that first year. What kind of adjustment was it for you getting in this car? I mean, again, you never drove one and just you won two races. You were National Rookie of the Year for the National Sprint Car Poll. I mean, that's a pretty quick study there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had great equipment. I had great advice behind me. My brother helping anytime. My cousin Rick Bates worked on the car. Uh, he was really good around race cars, and he still helps my brother today when I drive my brother's car. He still helps when we go to the racetrack. So I had a lot of good advice, but you still got to do it yourself. I've watched my dad race. I watched my brother race, and when I raced go karts, I was pretty good. I may not have been as good as Dave, but I was pretty dang close. And I knew we had 3 or 4 other guys, Rich Preston, Tommy Corderson, hell, Tim Schaefer ran at the place we did, Mike Kekich, Doug Kekich, Ralph Spithaler. So we had some guys at that track that we raced at that went on and ran sprint cars. And they'd had success. And I knew that I was as good as some of those guys. And I'm like, I know I can drive a sprint car. And I just needed the opportunity. And yeah, it came pretty quick. I think it was race 15 and 16 that I won. 2 of them at Sharon Speedway, double features one night. So I don't know. It just, some things naturally come to a person. And I don't know. It just kind of did. My feet worked and my hands worked together. And for whatever reason, I probably had some pretty good genes with my dad and my brother, or his brothers raced, my uncles. So I was pretty fortunate to have some good genes as far as that goes.
You win the Lernerville title in 91, I believe it
Yep.
was, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken.
Yep.
Uh, you Western PA most of 92 and then 93, you didn't have a ride. What happened there where you ran your dad's modified, but what happened from 92 to 93?
Well, at the end of 92, at the end of my third year racing in 92, and we ran really good in 92, had my brother built a coil car for me, and We go out to the Knoxville Nationals the first time ever, make the race through our preliminary night. Hell, I was on the pole, the prelim A. And so we ran really well. And at the end of 92, I go to California, Tom Wimmer and Bob Kramer with the 7TW
Yeah.
that Scott Benicum worked on. And Scott grew up around us right in our area and raced go-karts with us. And he helped my brother when he first started racing. So I knew Scott for a long time. And they hired me to go to California to run with the freaking Outlaws. They had Kenny Jacobs running the car and released him and hired me. And I go straight to California. My first two races were at San Jose. We ran fair, didn't make one race. Hell, there's 65 cars out there, and but ran decent. Then we go to Chico for the Gold Cup the next race, and fast time prelim night, ran sixth. I'm on the pole of the Gold Cup and led the first 30 some laps. Steve passes me and my brother passed me, and I run third at the Gold Cup. First time ever there, and should have probably won. Had the best car, but I wasn't ready to win that race, and I wasn't ready to win an outlaw race at that time, and just ran third. But then after that, we ran okay the rest of the year. That was the first winter series at Manzanita.
Yep.
And I think I wrecked 9 out of 10 races, and yeah, they fired me and put Bobby Davis in the car, which, I mean, it wasn't a total shock, but yeah, that was the first time I'd ever been in a car where it was gas it up. We got parts, and yeah, I wrecked the shit out of it. So anyway, that was, everybody goes through a wrecking phase, I guess, and that was my wrecking phase, and that it cost me a ride. And yeah, 93, I didn't do hardly anything. Raced a few sprint car races for a couple guys, and then ran my dad's modified a few times, and then fortunate to have an opportunity in 94 to go to Florida and run for Tom Burns, who just bought all Verlin's Shup stuff. And we ran really well. Should have won the final night at Ocala, had a tire go down and run the last night at East Bay, run from like 15th to 4th, and ran really, really well. And then Dean Lindsay calls. Rocky Hodges went from his car to the U2, and Dean Lindsay calls, and from there it was game on.
Yeah. And do you think that your background in sports helped you become what you were in sprint car racing? Obviously, yes, your dad, Lou, Dave, definitely good lineage there. But being an athlete, I often say, as many athletes as I've covered when I was at the newspaper, there's a dedication with an athlete that's different than a normal person. Like when they go on Dancing with the Stars, athletes win because that's what they do. They win.
Sure.
How much did that help you in racing?
I don't know. I mean, you look at some different guys. Steve Kinzer was a state champ in wrestling, but then you look at some other guys. Sammy Swindell, was he an athlete? I don't think so. And some other guys aren't real good athletes, but have just great either hand-eye coordination or just have a knack for racing a car. And all it is your feet working together with your hands and your brain involved. And I mean, it takes a lot of skill, but I don't think my background with sports had a ton to do with what I was able to do in a race car. There's tons of guys that aren't great athletes that are great race car drivers. So I don't think it had a ton to do with it. It may not hurt, but it didn't have a ton.
How about dealing with the hiring, the mental side, the other side of it? Look, if you don't perform, guess what?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was fired pretty quick in my career in end of year 2 or end of year 3, I guess. So yeah, I saw that aspect of it, and yeah, you're only as good as your last race. Yeah, you can win. And my mindset was always, I could have won 3 races in a row and then run fourth and felt like, man, I stink as a race car driver. So that was my mindset, was done at the end. If at the end of the previous race, my mind was done. It was just like, I got something to prove the next race, and my career, my racing life is on the line every race. And oh, but if you let that weigh on your mind, that's going to screw with you too. So you got to just relax and race, and whatever happens, happens. But yeah, it's in the back of your mind that you can. either eat at Taco Bell that night or you can eat at Outback Steakhouse.
Well, you raced for DJ Lindsay, and then in '95, I believe the Tim Hughes deal comes around,
Yep.
and
Yeah, no doubt.
you were that. I thought that's when, as a fan, and actually only a couple years before I started writing, that's when I remember. I remember in the Lindsay car, but I really burst on the scene with the Hughes deal. Take me through that. I think you were with him for 2-3 years.
3 years.
Yep,
Yeah.
won back-to-back All-Star titles, and we're really good with that team.
Yeah, with Dean and DJ, they were awesome to me. Gave me an opportunity, and I think we won five All Star races in '94.
Yep.
Run like fourth in points maybe, and but ran really good. Ran fourth at the Kings Royal, fifth at the big one maybe, or maybe flop. But anyway, but we ran really well, and but it led me to Tim. Tim had Joey driving the car in '94, and then Joey kind of left, and yeah, jump in that car, and that was really fun. He was an hour away from me, and for whatever reason, Davey Brown Jr. He'd worked with Tim before a little bit with Johnny Mackison, and he wanted to come back and work on it, and that was lights out. And then Todd Palmer worked on it. He was from around home where I lived, and we had a great team for 2 years. Won a lot of, I think we won 29 All Star races in a couple of years, and uh, won 2 points championships. The only downfall on those 2 years right there is we weren't great anytime we stepped in with the Outlaws. We didn't run. We might have had a couple fourths or fifths maybe, but we just weren't ready to win an outlaw race, I guess, at that time. But they must have just been a little level up on me at that time. But that's the only regret I have is we couldn't win an outlaw race in that car. So, and then we ran again in '97, and that was after Davey left and after he passed away, and we struggled a bit. But yeah, it led me to the '93 with my brother in '98, and you'll probably talk about that for a minute.
Oh, I'm going to. You've had some before I get to that. You've had some. I want to say tragic. You've had some guys close to you who passed away. Uh,
Yeah.
Davy Brown Jr.
Yep.
Obviously, I remember him from the Wolfgang days, and obviously, in Central Pennsylvania.
Yep.
I think people forget how good he was. You got a chance to work with him. What was he like to work with? How good was he, and how hard was that passing?
He, yeah, he was a good guy, and we got along really well, and we worked together really well. Well, hell, I drove the car and he freaking worked on it, and I was a lucky guy to be able to drive it. But he was really similar to George as far as that goes. I feel like, but yeah, that was a tough year when he passed because he actually had just came back to work for us when he had passed. He was out with Joey with the Outlaws in Stanton's car, and then he came home and he wanted to come back with us to go to work, and he did. He was actually with us when he passed, so we hadn't raced again yet in '97, but that was a tough situation. But I would come in and he'd say, the car looks like car's doing this, this, this. And I say, yep. He goes, I'll fix it. And okay. And he'd freaking fix it. And we won a lot of races. So I just basically, my job was to change shocks and groove tires that year. and, and that was about it.
Drive the car.
And drive the car. Yep.
Oh, that's a good situation. You don't get many. That's a good situation.
Yeah. No doubt.
So you do end up with your brother.
Yep.
The Amico deal, I believe that was it 98?
98. Yep.
98. What's it like running for your brother? I mean, okay, you got to have sibling rival. You got to. I mean, look, brothers. Okay, I fought with my half brother. I fought with my step brother. So now you're driving for him. What's that experience like?
Well, we never really fought as kids or anything. Never, we got along okay. But it was extremely tough because he ran first or second in the outlaw points 5 straight years before I jump in a car. and it's the same freaking stuff. Kenny Woodruff working on it, same motor, same car, same everything. And you replace one part, and that's me. And
Yeah.
we had some good moments. We had some bad moments. The good moment of that year, '98, we won the historical big one. The only race we won that year, and won that race. But it was tough racing for him only because he expected so much out of you. Kenny expected so much out of you. And man, that wore on me mentally more than anything. And I got along with Kenny well, but Kenny at the racetrack was way different than Kenny off the racetrack. So I wasn't, man, I don't know. I wasn't the guy for him, I don't think, because my personality didn't clash, or it did clash with him a little bit. My brother never talked to nobody at the racetrack. He was in the trailer. I mean, he was 100% full in all the time. And not like I wasn't, but it seemed like I ran better when I could go talk to some people, uh, watch the racetrack, do this, do that. But we're just totally different at the racetrack, my brother and I. And it relaxed me to just walk around and talk to a couple guys, see a couple of my friends, say, hey, what's, you know what I mean? And that didn't bode well with Kenny anyway. And we just didn't run that well. Basically, that didn't matter as much, but we just didn't run that well. And Dave and I are totally pretty different on how we ran the car, and just could not find a good balance for me in that car. And it just seemed like once things went downhill, it went downhill. So it was frustrating for everybody. Uh, More for me, but it was just frustrating for everybody, I think, that we couldn't get going any better than what we did.
They put Kevin Kobrecht in it,
Yep.
and then of course he loses his life in a race with
Yep.
the World of Outlaws. You come back to the car.
Yep.
How difficult was that scenario in that here you had this situation that didn't work, you leave, and now did you feel obligated to go back, or how did that all transpire?
No, I didn't feel obligated to go back. We just, after Kevin passed, and they ran good. They won the big one that
Won the big one.
year, and they were starting to run good. They struggled off the bat, and then switched to Maxim cars, and then he got rolling really good. And anyway, that was a whole tough situation. And Dave gave me an opportunity to come back, and he gave me an opportunity to hire DJ Lindsay, who I worked really well with in the 2D, and then Gene Jenkins comes along, and those two guys made me feel like I could drive a race car, gave me confidence, and as the year went on, and year went on, we got rolling really good. Won the Kings Royal, won another race, outlaw race, run seventh in the points. But I felt like we ran really, really well in 2000, and I felt vindicated that I could do the job in that car, and just it's all, I don't know. It's just your atmosphere you're around, and making you feel comfortable and making you feel confident. And I felt that way with those guys, and we ran a little better.
It's something I talk about today a lot, even on wherever, whatever show I'm on, or one of mine is it's very situational. You could take the best driver, best owner, most money, best crew chief, and it doesn't necessarily work. It really is a situation and a combination of everybody, getting along, or whatever. Everything's got to mesh, in other words.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. And it did. It was a lot better there than it was in '98 for sure.
How long did you stay with them? I think
I ran the following year in '01, and we didn't run as well. Gene had left and didn't want to come back, and we just didn't run as well. We were on Mopar Motors with Gary Stanton, and we had some problems with those that year. I mean, they ran freaking awesome in 2000, but I don't know, we just could not get a good balance in 2001, and we struggled. And there was 16 guys running the Outlaw Tour that were freaking good, and we run about 15th in points and struggled. And I think sponsorship stuff was going away a little bit, and Dave had an opportunity to invest in Sharon Speedway, and the lumber business got sold, and Dad always wanted to try to work at Sharon Speedway and be a part of that, and then they just became part of that, and Dave bought into that and it went that way. So which is okay, and then hell, I went to work there for 3 or 4 years at the racetrack. Still raced a little bit, but went to work at the racetrack for a while, and it made me see a different side of it for sure.
Well, yeah, I want to ask you about that. I mean, you're a driver, you have your opinions, and then you go work at the track, be a promoter, whatever it is, general manager. How did that change kind of your view of racetracks and the business side of this industry?
Well, it changed not really, a couple things. The safety aspect of a racetrack, I'd go into other places after we kind of changed Sharon and made it smaller and did a lot of things. The safety aspect of it, you go to other tracks and you go, holy shit, this place isn't the best. And so I saw a lot of that. Uh, but truthfully, I worked on the racetrack at Sharon, prepared it every week. So it was an advantage for me to do that because I could probably read a racetrack or know what it was going to do before hot laps better than most other guys because I've worked on racetracks before. So, and we didn't have great dirt at Sharon, and it was hard to make it really good. It was either rough, dusty, or one or the other, but it was hard to make it really good because we just didn't have great clay at that time. It's changed a bunch since then, but anyway, it made me read a racetrack a lot better for sure. And so if that was one bonus I got out of it, that was it.
Did you get yelled at? Because at this point, you've won good big races. Did you get yelled at by your by competitors?
Yeah, a few times. That's a hard job. Like I'm not really the general manager, but I'm working on the racetrack. I'm doing stuff in the pits, doing stuff in the infield. And a lot of those guys I know, and yeah, you got to make a couple calls on guys spinning some people out and this and that. So yeah, it was hard. Yeah, guys would come up to you and just, I mean, they're not really ruthless, but they say stuff to you, and you're just like, man, you just kind of want to. That's a hard freaking job to be able to take the criticism and not just blow up. And I blew up a few times at some people, and yeah, it's hard. Uh, that was the toughest job I ever had.
So George Fischer is somebody a big part of your racing career.
Yep.
Uh, when you what made you get back okay to where you were a full time racer again, and when was that?
Well, that was I think '05. I ran all the All Star races with the 22 car that Hod ran, the Eldon car. I ran that a lot that year, and then they put Greg Wilson in that car and got rid of me after Ohio Speed Week, and then I jumped back in with George. But I ran in '02. I was working at a racetrack, but I still ran a few races here and there, and I knew Fritz Andrews with the 72 car. I'd ran for him in 99 at the Kings Royal weekend. We ran 3 races there. And anyway, I knew Fritz. Eric Heisong was driving for him. He got hurt early at Attica. And so I jumped in that car a few times. And so be it, George is working on it. Never knew George before in my life. And then I ended up running that car for two, three, four, two, three, and '02, '03, and '04. I ran that car. And we ran I didn't run a ton because I was still working at the racetrack, so I could get away and go race a little bit here and there. And but whenever we ran really good. And I think '04 we won the night before the Kings Royal, and had an opportunity to win the Kings Royal that year. And that was a blow a tire a thon that Sides won, and we were leading at one point with 2 to go. And but anyway, we ran really good, and that led me to George. And from there on, man, me and George, or I say George and I, rolled pretty good. So it wasn't none of me and George; it was George and me.
what is it about that comment? What was it about him that made you guys click? Because for the almost the rest of your career,
Yeah.
I mean, George.
Yeah, ran for him. Yeah, 15 years we were together. And through about four owners, Fritz Andrews owned a piece of it. Then actually George owned it for a bit. Uh, Phil Plant from TI-22 took over and owned it for 3 or 4 years. And then Tony Kennedy in the 14K, we were together. Then we go over and we're with Janet and Todd Quiring at the Muddy Car. So, yeah, we were together for a while through some different guys. But the cars were all the same. The motors were all the same. There was nothing different except the car owners. But George was just, man, I mean, he was my uncle. He was my brother. He was my dad at times. He was just one of my best friends in life, and just a great dude. But just our personalities meshed a little bit, and he gave me confidence, and he knew how I like to run a race car, and he made it like that, and just ran the shit out of it for him. But we just, I don't know, we just meshed, and whatever he did to the race car, I really liked, and it didn't matter, man. I mean, when the track got slick and slow, his eyes would light up, and I felt like that was my best too. When it got that way, when I had to really use throttle and brake, and his cars were unbelievable in those circumstances. So we just his the way he worked on a car and the way I ran it just really meshed. So it was a lot of fun.
I think you have 137 All-Star wins, 6 titles, and I believe all of them are, if I'm not mistaken, most of them are with him. The championships.
I think four were with him. I think we won 100 races together, and four of those titles were with him. Yes, the other two were with Davey Brown and Tim Hughes. So I was so fortunate in my career. I got to work with DJ Lindsay, Davey, Davey frickin' Brown, George Fischer, Kenny Woodruff. Was around my brother. I mean, I had some great, great mechanics that I've worked with, and been really, really fortunate to be involved. And I'm fortunate to be where I was, no doubt.
How'd you end up with Queering? Because he's an interesting guy. I mean,
Yeah, that was Tony Kennedy. We ran with him in 2014.
yep.
We go to 2015. We go to Florida, and could tell something was off. We didn't take our best motor. We could tell something was a little wrong. And we get back from Florida, and he basically calls me and George and says, "Hey, I got to sell the team. I'm in a little bit of financial difficulty or whatever, and we're getting ready to run Attica, the first All Star race in about a week." And he says he's done, and I get a message on Facebook. I'd never met Todd Quiring in my life, and he sends me a message on Facebook through Messenger, and basically says, "Hey, I wouldn't mind helping you out." And all of a sudden, he basically says, "I'll do your motor program. I'll give you a truck and trailer, and I'll give you a mule and this and that." And I was like, "Are you serious?" And I called Janet Holbrook up, and she had just got out of racing with the '83 car. And I said, "Hey," I said, "we need an owner to own this stuff a little bit." And he came in as a sponsor, and it was never met the guy before in my life. And he comes and sponsors my race car. And all of a sudden, I get Janet Holbrook as an owner and him as a sponsor. And in 2015, we won a lot of races and ran really good. Those 2 years, 15 and 16, we ran, I mean, really well. And that was weird. Not weird, but I'd never met a guy before, and all of a sudden he's now my main sponsor and my main guy. So that was pretty crazy.
You won the Silver Cup one of those years.
15, yep,
And
yep, won a Silver Cup, and
huge win.
yeah, that was a big one. Passed Donnie to win it in the slick.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you boat raced them.
Yep,
I mean, I was at that race,
yep,
and significant because obviously you're a former champion there. You were viewed. I don't know if you were viewed as a local, but you were the closest thing to a local to
Yeah.
beat the Outlaws and passed Donnie Schatz to do it.
Yeah. Well, Tim Shafe was from there too, and he'd
Yes.
ran local there too, and I think he had won that Don Martin before. So, but yeah, that was pretty cool. That might have been that was a top four win in my career for sure to win that race, no doubt.
Now, after the muddy deal, did kind of start things start to taper off a little bit? I mean, was there?
Unravel.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say
Is that a good
unravel.
word?
Uh, look, it's tough getting rides. You were
Yeah.
still. I didn't think you lost anything. But
Yeah.
it's difficult game. Was there a point where you knew that this is starting to wind down?
No, I don't know. In 17, after George passed, I go race for the Zemco guys with Tommy Carl, and I raced there, and that car is a fast car. And in Ohio, I was going to go race for Ed Newmeister with the Linders, and never really worked with the Linders before, never worked with any of these people before, and I'm mentally whipped at that time. My George just passes, and I'm not angry, but I'm just freaking. Uh, I'm not the same guy. I mean, I was a pain in the ass to work with that year, only because I mean I put the Linders and Newmeister through hell a few times, and they were like, "Screw you, we ain't gonna race with you no more," and I didn't blame them. And I go to the Zemco car. We ran really good early in that year, and then we started struggling a touch. But I'm probably the only guy in the history of the Zemco car that ran it for a while that never won a freaking race in that car. You could probably look it up. I mean, everybody won a race in that car except for me. Ran second, ran third, ran second, ran really good at times, but never won a dang race. And but that was 2017 was pretty much me being a hard guy to deal with because I had just went through some stuff, and I was an idiot that year. I was an idiot to work with, and I was just an idiot. So I blame all that one on me, and I probably the rest of my career, half of it was like that. Just it was when George passed, man. About 80% of my passion for being there and in it kind of left for a while. So that was a hard thing to deal with.
Well, you said how important he was, just even outside of the racetrack. I mean,
Yeah.
what he meant to you. How do you get that back then? A little bit of that back. You said for a while. I mean, I assume you got some of it back. How does
I
that
wa-
happen?
yeah, I didn't race a whole lot. Man, 19. We went and raced for the McGees in 2019. Ran the All-Star races, and I felt like we ran really good and had an opportunity to win that title.
Mm-hmm.
Reichel's out there, Corey Lyson's out there, and we run second in the points, and we're still leading the points at the Tuscarora 50. Going into the Tuscarora 50, we're on the frickin' pole of that race and had a motor problem and didn't make one lap. And Reitzel wins the race, and then from there on out, the rest of that year, yeah, he whipped us hard. But we were actually still in the points race at that time, and it felt like we ran really good in that car. But at that time, I'm an older guy. Hell, I'm 61 now. I was 19. I was 54 years old, and that's old. So after that, I didn't race, I don't know, 20, 21, 22. I didn't race but about seven times in those 3 years. Worked for the All Stars for about a year and a half, and that was that was fun, but that was hard. So same thing as Sharon Speedway. You're dealing with. I'm trying to call starts, and that's it's hard because I know what they're doing, and then the Danny Dietrich thing at Kokomo was that was a topper, and
Well,
I was
yeah,
just
I
like,
gotta get because you started being a race director then.
no, I really was never the race director. Eric Walls was there, and I was just working under him. He was up in the booth, and I was down. Me and Kenny Osborne, we were down on the line, calling starts a little bit, and that was hard, man. That was hard.
So
So
what happened to Kokomo with Danny Dietrich?
I have no idea. That's Danny Dietrich.
No, 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 no. Because
I
I don't
mean,
want.
that was a tough night, man. I mean, it really was. Danny's a good friend of mine, and he had just got suspended. Not really suspended, but he was on probation, I think, with the All Stars. He had to pay some money to come back because he said some things, and that was his first race back at Kokomo, 26,000 win, I think, and he's on the pole of that heat race. And man, why I cued the mic, I have no idea why. I don't think Walls wanted me to cue the mic, and I didn't want to cue the mic. But I felt like he took advantage of the situation, and that was totally my call. It had nothing to do with Walls whatsoever. And but yeah, that was a bad night. So I felt like I probably shouldn't have made the call. But from my angle, it looked like an egregious jump. So yeah, I caught a little hell from that one.
Oh, Danny dishes it. Danny can dish it out.
But I truthfully think, in my mind, I truthfully think that he thought to himself, I can get away with a little bit of something because I just paid some money,
Yeah.
and they ain't gonna call this on me. And I don't know for a fact, but it was, yeah, it was, that was a bad night. I felt not very good about myself, and I felt bad about the situation itself. But it was what it was.
Look, I watch Danny every week.
We can laugh about it now.
A couple of weeks ago at Lincoln, he took advantage of a situation.
Yeah,
And Danny will do that. He can get mad all he wants. I
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, hey,
he does.
for sure, no doubt.
How tough was that job? Because I know you said working at Sharon was the toughest job you ever had.
Yeah,
I can't imagine making jump calls because there's so much game playing. There's
sure.
so much, back and
Yeah,
forth. Being an official, especially in today's climate, seems very, very difficult.
yep.
It would seem to. So for you, I mean, it had to be. I hate to use the term easy to just be on the competitor side.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was hard. Those are all my buddies. Not really my buddies, but guys I knew
Right.
and guys I've raced with. And man, I got a scouting report on everybody. If you're a race car driver, you have a scouting report on everybody. I mean, you know how they start from the pole. You know how they start if they're behind you on the inside or the outside. You know what they do. And I know how guys try to start a race, and there's two games to be played. You either lay back a little bit or you try to get ahead a little bit from the outside, and you either time it or you put the pole guy in a little bit of a position if you try to inch ahead. So I could see it getting into turn three a little bit of times of what was going to kind of happen, but it was still hard to call.
So since then, really, once you got into the 2020s and up until now, it's been spotty. How much you've run?
Yep.
Ran at 32. Um, you've run your brother's car. Uh, where are you at with the whole racing thing now? I mean, is it just are you done with it, or I know you and I have had these funny conversations. I wish I would have taped them because because you're
Yeah.
because you're you're just funny sometimes on the phone about. Well, I never retired. Well,
No, I don't think I've ever actually retired, but I mean,
where are you at with it?
I had a lot of fun racing with Tiger Barris in a 32 car.
Yep.
Hell, he raced go karts with us when we were 14, 15 years old. That's where I met him. And I had a lot of fun racing with those guys. We went to some different places, and that was fun. But yeah, just have an opportunity to race with my brother. I wish we'd raced a little bit more this year. We've run 5 times, but the Outlaw race got rained out at Sharon. The All Star Speed Week, Ohio Speed Week race got rained out. The Western PA Speed Week race got rained out. So there was 3 that I really wanted to run just to see how good we could run with those guys. And then we were going to go run a few PA Speed Week races. And then Mom got sick a little bit and couldn't go. We wanted to go to Port and Hagerstown, but we'd love to have raced 12 or 15 times at this point, but got 5 in. And it's fun racing with Dave. I always ran better when he was at the races back in 2000, 2001. Always ran better when he was there. And his his cars are a little bit, we're doing some different things, or he's doing some different things. I'm still just bolting in and driving it, but the car looks a little bit different than some other guys' cars. His always kind of have, and he loves doing that. He just loves trying to find a little way to be a little bit better instead of just normal, and trying to find a better way to do things. And we don't have a problem. Just I'm kind of the test pilot right now, and which is fine by me. We've run pretty good, so hopefully we're going to run the outlaw race here end of this month and at Sharon, and hopefully it's good weather and track's conducive to what we do, and we can have a good night. But as far as where I'm at, uh, if Dave wants me to run his car next year a little bit, I'll run it again. So I don't think my days are over by any means. I'm not nearly as good as what I was, 10 years ago by far, but who is at 61 years old? But you get to track a certain way where you got to run the pedals and steer it a certain way. And I still feel like I can do that as good as most.
You were coaching college basketball for a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. For about 4 years.
What was that
Division
like?
three. It was pretty fun. Basketball has always been a big part of my life. And I coached in high school for a bit over in Warren, Ohio. And coached some really good guys. Even in high school, coached some really, really good guys. And coached at Westminster College over in Western PA. And it's fun. I mean, haven't done it for a few years, needed to get away. But the kids are different nowadays. I can tell you that.
Yeah, they're different.
Kids are different for sure. But you gotta understand that, and you gotta know that. So, but they are different than what they used to be.
So, how do you occupy your time now? I know you were talking about driving a motorhome for, was it for Ryan or what?
No, I'm actually driving for AJ Allmendinger.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that's where I'm at right now. I'm in Bristol, sitting in the parking lot. I'm in the motorhome right now. So I've done 20. I'll do 21 races for him this year out of the 36. He goes to all of them, but I just take the motor home to 21 of them, and probably do that for him again next year. And after that, I mean, it's a great retirement gig. Not that I'm retired, but I kind of am. Still do a few other things besides that, but it's great being out here. I get to see Ryan every week when I'm here, be around him a little bit, and watch him. So it's fun. Travel up and down the road. I got to go to New Hampshire next week, and then all the way out to Kansas the following week. Got a couple weeks off, then go to Talladega and Martinsville. So it's fun. AJ he's a great dude. Him and his wife, and little boy Arrow is about 2, just turned 2, and but they're awesome. He's a great dude. I told him, I said, when you retire, I'll stop driving for you. But until then, I'll drive for him forever. But he's old now too for a driver. Hell, he's
Yeah.
the second oldest guy out here. He's 43, I think now. So I think Hamlin might be the only guy older than him out here. So an old guy driving his motorhome and an old guy driving the race car. So
Well, to wrap up, I'm gonna fire some things at you. You're in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. What was it like? I mean, your father is in the Hall of Fame. Your
Yep.
brother's in the Hall of Fame, and you're in the Hall
Yep.
of Fame. When
Yep.
you got that call, what was that like?
Uh, I don't know. Never really thought about it a ton because I was still racing and pretty much still kind of at the top of my game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was maybe 2014 or no, 15, I think. So to me, it didn't, I don't know. It's not like I was retired and done with racing, and then you get the call like the NFL or the NBA, or it's way different. Hell, I felt like I was still as good as what I could be, and I'm in the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, it was awesome to be a part of it, no doubt about it. especially with Dave there and Dad there. I felt like I didn't let my end of the bargain down.
No, you didn't. So the funny part is about you that I always it's a charming thing. You're humble, but then there's times you're not.
Not humble when we get to fantasy football,
Oh
huh?
man, I lost, I lost to Dale this week by what was it, a point and a half,
Yeah, 1.9.
and I thought I had it covered, and Minnesota for some reason stopped playing defense or didn't start. I can't believe they only had 3 points against Chicago.
Yeah.
But so I lost by 1.9. It's fun playing Dale, but it's frustrating playing Dale because I know he knows what he's doing, and
Some days, yeah. Most days I do.
I like the advantage I have sometimes over other people, and I don't really have it. It's the Danny Dietrich in me, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
but you've been around sprint car racing a long time, and you see, I've asked a few different people I've had on because I don't really talk to drivers much, and I know you're not retired, but you are retired, but not retired.
Yep.
But compare sprint car racing. What are the biggest changes you've seen, better or worse, from the 90s, 2000s to what we have now? I know it could be a little different. It's kind of in depth, but as quick as you can, what are some of the good and bad points that are different?
I don't know. I mean, formats are different. Uh, good or bad, it's different. The cars are the difference between qualifying fast time to 20th now is probably 2 tenths. Back in our days, it was probably 8 tenths. So the every car now is, or most every car now, you go to an outlaw race or an all star race or high limit race. The fields are way more even as far as guys. A guy can run 18th and a guy can win, and the guy running 18th may have as good a shot as a guy who won if he started in that spot. And that couldn't have happened in 1995. So, but it can definitely happen today. But I don't know. I mean, racing's racing. I'm not going to, there's good points, there's bad points, but you still go around in circles and it's still 30 freaking laps.
I'm amazed by the young guys now. You mentioned it earlier. Guys didn't start, you know, as young. I mean, hell, you didn't get into a go kart till you were 14. You didn't get into a sprint car till you were in your 20s. Now you have
26,
like
yeah.
Kofoid started when he was 11 in Nevada,
Yep,
and look what he is now. You have Ryan Timms is a
yep,
teenager, already has a Knoxville Nationals.
yep.
Are you amazed by that a little bit? Just how good the young guys are and how aggressive they are.
Yes and no. I mean, if you would have, my brother started when he was 18, and he runs third in the All Star points the following year to Lee Osborne and Fred Linder, and is competing at outlaw races the following year. So, and you look at Bobby Davis Jr. when he started at 18. I mean, he was a monster right off the bat. So, say those kids start at 16 or 15, what are they going to be at 18?
That's a good point.
You know, so I don't think the kids. I don't know. The comparison is different only because nobody really started until they were 18 back then, and you really couldn't start till you're 18 back then. So I don't know, but the kids are really good. I know that. No fear, but yeah, they've also run how many races younger, 600 micros or quarter midgets than some of us did. So, but there's some young kids that are pretty awesome.
How did you get your nickname? I'm not a nickname guy, by the way. I'm not. It's just because in the newspaper business, you can't write them. You can't put them in the
Yeah.
paper. It's
Yep.
I guess it's viewed as unprofessional. How'd you get your nickname?
Eldora, 2000. What was it? He was running for George. Might have been 2006, 2007. Nobody really ran around the bottom at Eldora because the bank was still kind of flat on the bottom and rolled up. But we run. Oh man, it was the night before the Kings Row. We come from about 24th to Ended up fourth, I think, but we could have run maybe second before if the yellow don't come out. And then later on that year, it's the same way. We ran work through the field around the bottom, and a couple there for about a year. I was really good, and that just I don't know. Johnny Gibson was out there, and I just became the lowrider because of those two races at Eldora, and became the lowrider. So I really don't feel like I run around the bottom a lot.
No.
I feel like I run through the middle
Yeah.
more than anybody. But we were also pretty good around the bottom a few times. So the middle rider isn't really too cool, but the low rider's fun.
Yeah, from a perception standpoint, low rider works better than middle rider.
Yeah, no doubt.
And there's a ton
No
of
doubt.
people who rip around the cushion, so you don't want to be one of many.
No,
You know,
no.
so otherwise, it's just you and Lasowski for down there.
Yeah, yeah.
What was it like running against Steve Kinzer and Sammy Swindell? I mean, obviously Doug Wolfgang, who was part of Big Three, you didn't have much time. I mean, obviously you were just kind of getting started, but what was it
Yeah,
like? Because you mentioned earlier about Steve Kinzer pulling up beside him to get pushed off.
yeah,
What was it like running against Steve Kinzer and Sammy Swindell?
yeah. Hang on, I'm going to plug my phone in real quick. Hang on
Go
one
ahead.
second.
You do that.
Man, it was I I kind of met Steve before I started racing a little bit and talked to him. And he's the same thing with Wolfgang. When I was playing college basketball, uh, I met Wolfgang through my brother at the races, and Wolfgang was a huge college basketball fan, or a huge basketball fan. And I actually knew him a little bit back when I played at West Virginia. I called him actually on the phone a few times and told him when I was playing and we were going to be on ESPN and this and that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the white 11, man. I mean, when you were in awe of that guy, and no doubt he's still to me one of the best guys that ever raced. It's hard to compare eras, cars and eras and all that, but in his era, he was a monster, and he'd be a monster in any era. It wouldn't have mattered, but yeah, he's like freaking Michael Jordan. I mean, you see Michael Jordan walking down you know the court, you're like, oh my gosh, there's Michael Jordan. Same thing with Steve. So, but Steve was a great dude, man. I mean, one story about Steve. Uh, Won the Kings Royal in 2000, and he probably would have won the race in another lap, and but anyway, it worked out where I won the race, and he was really really close, and anyway, he came over and gave me a hug after that race. He didn't have to, but he gave me a hug and said good job, and that was probably one of the coolest moments that I'll ever have as a race car driver. That guy came over and told me good job and gave me a hug after I won the Kings Royal, and he ran second. He had every right to be just mad as could be and just not say a word to me, but that was one of the coolest moments I ever had.
You know, I have had, because I'm older. I'm 53 and started going when I was 5. I've seen a lot of drivers and the Steve Kinzers and the Doug Wolfgang, just some of the years that were incredible. And I sometimes think the generation now forgets those guys. Like people don't know how, or they forget or don't know how good Steve Kinzer was.
Sure.
And look, Kyle Larson's great, no doubt. And Donnie Schatz, great Mount Rushmore guy, Donnie Schatz. My Mount
Yep.
Rushmore is the big three and Donnie Schatz. But I
Yep.
think people even forget like Stevie Smith, the killer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. People don't. Yeah, it's different eras. I mean, people didn't realize how good my brother was back from 94 or 90, from 93 to 97. People don't realize how good he was. And people don't realize how good Bobby Davis was in Wakert's car. I mean, they don't realize how good that guy was. And when Wolfgang won all those races in the 8D, I mean, yeah, he was unbelievable. So there's so many guys that were just great race car drivers. And like you said, Stevie Smith, like he doesn't get the credit he deserves whatsoever because he he was freaking awesome. And yeah, there was so many good guys that don't get the credit they deserve. But I mean, that's just part of it. It is what it is. So
Your brother has I went to my first Kings Royal in 1987.
yeah,
I think I might have missed two, maybe for whatever reason. The most dominating Kings Royal performance I've ever seen was in the mid 90s when he won it. I think he
yeah,
was by half a track.
yeah,
It was ridiculously stupid.
yeah,
They could have started him in Lima and he would have won.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was I will never forget. He was I always equated him to like a silent assassin.
yeah,
There wasn't a lot of pop circumstance. He did his job. Tough to interview sometimes.
yeah.
Opened up more as he got older,
Sure.
but that's where you guys are different.
Yeah.
But boy, could you get around Eldor.
He was awesome there. He was good a lot of places, but that place there was he was pretty special as far as where he could enter compared to everybody else was and he could do it whenever. But yeah, he was pretty good there. I know that. But I tell you what though about my brother, like people think that he's pretty quiet and this and that, but he can be the funniest guy in the room at Christmas or Thanksgiving, and he's got a great personality. But people don't see that because at the races, yeah, he just didn't show that, and he did not like people coming up and just asking a dumb question. He just look at you like he'd just burn a hole through you, and he would, man. And not like I haven't either, but yeah, he would do that. But he was just so into it. But yeah, he can be. He's way more funny than I am most days, and I ain't really that funny.
Wow. I don't know about that, but no, I always liked Dave. My ex-wife was a big Dave Blaney fan. Believe it or not.
Yeah,
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 you know, ex-wife, but she still even today has asked me, "Oh, what's he doing?"
yeah,
And whatnot. Ryan, your nephew,
yep,
what's it like? Watch. I mean, he's a NASCAR champion.
yeah. It's pretty cool. If you'd have told me he was going to be a NASCAR champ when he was, yeah, 8 or 9 years old, I'd have said I don't know about that one, but he's a great guy. I mean, he's awesome. We don't talk. I mean, I'm out here. His motorhome's about 4 down from me, but I see him at times out here. I don't want to bother him. He's busy, so I hate to just knock on the door and jump in a motorhome. And I have a few times, and I don't know if but he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life, and but it's awesome to watch him out here all the time and listen to him on the radio. And but yeah, I still think the championship goes through the 12 car at the end of this year. There's a couple guys running really, really good. I mean, Bell and Hamlin are good, and Larson's always going to be good. But I still think the championship will go through the 12.
Last thing, do you guys ever sit around holidays or whatever, think about what your family's accomplished, whether it be you, Dave, Ryan, your father? It really is pretty astounding everything you guys have accomplished, what you've meant to the racing community, the racetrack, obviously. I mean, do you ever kind of just sit back and reflect on all that and say, you know what, it turned out pretty good?
No, not one word about it. I mean, that's for other people to talk about. It ain't for us to talk about. I mean, other people can talk about it, but no, I don't think there's ever been one word said about that. We'll talk about a few races here and there, but yeah, as far as reflecting on what we've all done, not really, not
Yeah,
much.
yeah, you guys are. It's a
I'm
humble.
just going to reflect on who I beat in fantasy football this next week. That's all I'm going to
Well,
do.
I'm saving it for the playoffs.
There you go.
That's maybe we'll make a trade somewhere along the line that maybe
There's
gets.
no way we could make a trade. You're wanting an advantage. I'm wanting an advantage. And there's no way we could actually figure out a way to make a trade equal. But you never know.
Yeah, my goal this year or next year in 2 years span is to somehow make a trade with you that we both are going. All right, How that sounds good. So
Yeah,
that
there we
that's
go.
a, there's a goal.
I'll I'll send you a couple trade requests on online, and you'll just gotta laugh at
No, okay. Don't
them.
make it absurd. Okay. There's some people in our league you can do that too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
So
Tyreek Hill's available if you want
no, not until he goes to the Steelers or somebody else. How about that?
him. Yeah,
So
yeah, no doubt.
Dale, I want to thank you for. I know you're busy in the motorhome today.
Oh yeah, busy cleaning.
So, but no, I
Yep.
really enjoy having you on. It was good to talk to you, take us through everything and everything you've done in your career. And I look forward to talking to you about fantasy football as we go through the season.
Heck yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
That's going to wrap up another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com deep dive presented by Dottie's Family Market in Dover, PA. Thank you very much to Dale Blaney for joining us on the show. A lot of good stuff there. Also, if you like the content on our YouTube channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can also check out our daily exclusive content at sprintcarunlimited.com. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Deep Dive.